As a CTO, we shield our companies and we don't know where to start sometimes because we're working. With this video, I hope to give you 4 easy things to look at in order to start that process of protecting your company, protecting your ideas. Ideas are delicious. I love thousands of ideas. Sometimes I love solving problems with new ideas, which isn't always a great idea. But ideas are what truly makes innovation and the innovation economy go around. We have them, we bring people around them, we inspire people to join us, and then we create products and services. And as CTOs, we are constantly facilitating how to create ideas, how to implement the technologies, and then how to keep an invention culture going. So if your idea is new, useful, not obvious, well, then you are in patent territory and you should really build a relationship with a patent attorney early on. I recommend you do that anyway. Just build that relationship. But we think of patenting our code, maybe think about copywriting your code, but really patenting could be a process, could be something as beautiful as Larry Page's PageRank algorithm. Go check that out. But really there's no code involved in that. It just describes an algorithm. So let's go back to how does a CTO protect and shield their company against potential threats. So if you think about your company has ideas, like I said. Then your company or your engineering team is the team that is cultivating and growing products around those ideas. Now, a wonderful way that I learned recently to keep the culture of invention going is to really incentivize your team around, listen, if you come up with ideas, we will support you. We will see what we can do to patent those ideas or to get them into our intellectual property portfolio. So with our engineering teams, we want to bring them together into a collaborative environment where they come up with new ideas. So many ways to incentivize them to just keep that culture of invention going. As CTOs, that's a great way to incentivize our team to say, listen, if you have an idea, we are constantly going to meet and see what is new, what is useful, what is not obvious, and how can we support you in the patent process. So let's think about our company as our people, the way in which we do things, sometimes trade secrets, our playbooks. We have our revenues and we have our products and our services. So if we look at our company, I'm going to describe 4 existential threats that might feel a little strange, but I'm going to call our customers a potential threat, our compliance as a potential threat, competition, and culture. So it's easy to understand competition and hacks and security as a potential threat. But I'm going to address these 4 as potential threats to our company. With competition, we think about intellectual property. So we want to ask ourselves as CTOs, what are we doing to protect our ideas? We can go out and we can talk to patent attorneys. I really recommend that you build a relationship with one super early and think about what ideas are out there that when you define a patent around it, A, can either not be reproduced or used as is, or B, you get paid royalties or licensing fees when someone does indeed want to use that. So as CTO, keep cultivating that. What can we protect? And also, how is our intellectual property threatened by new agreements we sign or new partnerships we go into? Secondly, let's look at compliance. So compliance is the risk of not complying to certain regulatory requirements. Sometimes okay to get away with that when you're a tiny company, but when you start attracting attention and your pockets grow deeper, people might come after you, not to mention some security threats around ransomware. And as CTO, what are you doing to make sure that you are compliant with whatever your industry requires? Then your customers can be a threat when you mess with their data. Now, there's a couple ways you can mess with them. You can release buggy software, but really, when it comes to a very serious existential threat, is if you mess around with their data, when breaches happen and customers start losing trust in your brand and that you are handling their data with care. And so then culture. Now, this is very interesting. In a speedy culture of delivery, and let's do this now and think about the implications later, you may be super liberal with access, licensing, open source software. And so you can have a culture of innovation over everything or rapid deployment over everything. And that to me is an existential threat. If your developers have a culture of anything goes, let's keep sharing, let's not care about authorizations, security or access policies, you may be building into your company a very real threat. Let's think about IP as think tanks. How often are you meeting with your engineers and saying, hey, what's new? What are you guys doing? How's it going? You know, what if we combine A with B? Does it give us a new idea? Are you brainstorming? And as I said, are you building relationships proactively with attorneys who can come in and potentially help you identify what is intellectual property? For your culture, are you defining policies? Are you have internal data protection policies or passwords or access or IAM profiles and all that? I think that a culture of excellence where you really put the time and effort in to address these things early on really makes it easier for you to bring in and onboard new people under that culture of excellence. With compliance, we look at risk assessment, constantly look at where are you exposed? What are your insurance policies? Again, what companies and providers are you working with or carriers are you working with in order to secure the necessary insurance and in order to see where you need to make sure you get your compliance certificates. And then with your customer data, how are you handling breaches? How are you proactively communicating any potential risks to the data? And what is your privacy or PII policies that your customers can know about? So let's quickly recap. As a CTO, you've just heard that you should shield, protect the future of your company. 4 things. Take a look at your intellectual property and how you can protect that. Take a look at your access to your various systems, your open source software. Take a look at the risk and where you are exposed, and then take a look at your data and your customer data. So go and shield, go and shield.